In this video, I'm going to go over everything I did to knock out the AWS Certified AI Practitioner in 1 week, and some of the things that I didn't do that I wish I did do. Now, if you're new here, I'm Greg, the creator of Thoughtful Techie Cloud, and each week I create a video to help you navigate your AWS cloud and tech journey. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe right now. Now, full disclaimer, for those of you that don't already know, I'm an AWS Solutions Architect. Been working at AWS for over 8 years. Now, regarding AI and ML, I've been talking about these technologies for several years, specifically generative AI. Been dealing with generative AI since 2023. So I'm already coming in with a decent baseline to the AWS Certified AI Practitioner. Here's the thing though, the AI practitioner goes over even more than the conversations I'm having with on a daily basis with my customers. So even for me, in preparing for this, I'm having to expand my knowledge. The other thing I'm going to tell you, in case you don't already know, yes, the AWS AI Practitioner is a foundational certification, but don't get it twisted. Even though this is a foundational certification, just like the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner, this certification is not a walk in the park. In my opinion, I think that the AWS Cloud Practitioner is easier because I think it's easier to prepare for and to get an outcome that you expect once you take the exam. AI Practitioner, even though it's foundational, you have to think about it. It's foundational in respect to AI and ML. And this is a topic which is just naturally going to be a bit more in-depth and technical than just your standard Certified Cloud Practitioner. So know that going into this. Now, yes, I passed it in a week. I don't advise that 1 week strategy for everybody. I'm going to kind of give you the inspiration for why I did it. So this is one of the reasons I did it. I kind of hinted at earlier. I've been dealing with AI and ML for a while, generative AI since 2023. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go after it, right? Now, I had originally told myself, I'm going to prepare for this for 14 days. Problem with that is that on that first week I was supposed to start, I got sick. So I was about sick for a week. After I got better enough to where I could resume my studying, I had 1 week left. Now I was like, okay, am I still gonna do 14 days or do I wanna try to condense it into 1 week? One of the things that caused me to condense it into 1 week is because I had an upcoming work project coming up that was gonna take a solid week to prepare. So what I didn't want to do was to study for a week, then go on this work project that I had to do, lose that momentum. So I was like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and register for the exam like I'm only gonna study for a week. So I went ahead and proactively registered for the exam, and then I just started studying. And then I was like, okay, I have 24 hours before I sit the exam to change my mind if I don't feel ready. Okay, so what did I use to prepare? Here's the other thing that I did as well. I only used AWS Training Resources because I wanted to see if I only used the AWS Training Resources, would it be enough? And the good news is, for me, it was enough. Now, what did I use? I used the AWS Enhanced Exam Prep Plan for AWS Certified AI Practitioner. And if you wonder why I'm looking over here, I made some notes. Now, not to worry, I'm gonna put some links down in the description below so you can access all this stuff. So AWS Training and Certification has an exam prep little series they do for the various AWS certifications, and they have one for the AWS AI Practitioner. I chose the Enhanced. Now, the Enhanced is the paid version of this, And there's some differences. There's a standard exam prep training plan, and then there's the enhanced. So I think what I'm going to do is, you know, if you have the means to take the enhanced, I certainly recommend it. If you're a little reluctant to pay for something, I'm going to go over the standard first. The standard training plan is going to have several modules. The first is simply getting to know the exam with exam style questions. So you get to start off with a set of practice questions. I think it's 20. So you're going to get those whether you do the standard or you do the enhanced. Then there's going to be module 2, which is refresh your AWS knowledge and skills. And what this is essentially, before you even get into the meat and potatoes of the standard exam prep class, this is a list of literally 13 individual training classes that the exam prep course recommends that you take. I'll go over a few of them now. I don't know if I'm going to read all 13 of them, but one of them is Fundamentals of Machine Learning and Artificial Intelligence. Then you have Exploring Artificial Intelligence Use Cases and Applications, Responsible Artificial Intelligence Practices, Developing Machine Learning Solutions, Developing Generative Artificial Intelligence Solutions, The Essentials of Prompt Engineering, and that's the first 6. And this goes all the way through 13 individual classes. And these classes typically range around 1 hour. And when I say classes, they're all on demand, they're all on video, so you can watch them at your own pace. And these training classes that I mentioned, they're all hosted on AWS Skill Builder, and good news is they're free. So the exam prep training recommends that you go through all those. And you don't have to worry about taking notes and trying to scramble to keep up with the video because, again, I mentioned earlier, I will put this in the description below. So this is the recommended prerequisites to get before you get into the exam prep class. Now, I had done a fair amount of these. I didn't do all of them. So this is one of the things I would recommend for your preparation because I set a tighter timeline for myself. I would recommend you take your time and go through all 13 of these classes. I felt fairly confident that I'd gone through some of these trainings, and also because I'm working with these technologies and having discussions with customers about these technologies on a daily basis, just by the nature of my job, having to read and get acclimated to stuff and go through documentation to prepare for meetings and that type of stuff, I felt like I already had these gaps filled. But, you know, if I'd have given myself more time, I would have gone through everything kind of from start to finish. What else we got here? And there's also a couple of AWS white papers that are recommended. One of them is What is Artificial Intelligence, that the exam prep course recommends you read. And then another one is the AWS Cloud Adoption Framework for Artificial Intelligence, Machine Learning, and Generative AI. This is a nice comprehensive white paper that's going to take you through a lot of this material. So I can look at my notes. And then the cool thing about this is the exam prep training goes over all 5 domains of the AI practitioner. So domain 1 is fundamentals of AI and ML, worth 20% of the exam. Domain 2 is fundamentals of generative AI, worth 24% of the exam. Domain 3 is applications of foundation models, worth 28% of the exam. Domain 4 is guidelines for responsible AI, worth 14% of the exam. And domain 5 is all about security, compliance, governance, and AI solutions. Now, exam prep goes over each of those domains. I'm going to tell you about what that format looks like for each of the domains. So each of the domains focuses on their respective domain topic, but the format of how the training is delivered is kind of templatized. So when you go into that first domain, for example, it's going to be an introduction. And then within every domain, they break out every task statement. So I think for domain 1, which is the fundamentals of AI and ML, there are a total of, looks like 3 task statements. And then within each task statement, you need to basically be familiar with a certain thing. And there are videos that are literally match up to every task and every task statement. Now, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, when I say domains and task statements, I'm going to include a copy of the AI Practitioner exam guide below, which if you haven't already, you need to read from start to finish because this outlines several things about the test that you need to know. Okay, so also within every domain, once you get to pass those task statements, they're going to be walkthrough questions. And for each one, there's a couple of questions or so for every one. So there's going to be a question that is of a similar representation of what you would expect to find in terms of difficulty on the test, just to give you kind of a preview of what to expect. And the question, it's a walkthrough. So you'll have somebody reading the question to you. They'll break down the question, the key words and underline things and circle things to really help carry you through the question. And then before they answer it, you can hit the pause button so you can figure out what it is. Then as they go through the walkthrough, they'll go through each individual selection and tell you if it's a plausible answer or if not. And then when they go over the answers, they tell you which one's the right answer, why it's the right answer, and then they go over the wrong answers and tell you why it's wrong. There is another important section in each of these modules, and it's called additional resources. So for the domain one, there were additional resources that were aligned to be able to help give you some additional knowledge and insights regarding the fundamentals of AI and ML. And so for domain one, there was 9 additional resources. I did not individually read these in preparation for my exam. Now, having said that, some of these documents that popped up, I have already reviewed some of them already just in my day-to-day learnings and interactions with me trying to learn this in preparation for different projects that I've been working on. This is one of those additional things that if I'd allowed myself more time, I would have gone through these white papers and this documentation a lot more. So that's the general format of the standard exam prep course. Now, remember, I took the enhanced exam prep. So what's the difference? Well, the first difference is that it costs a little money, right? But I think it's $29 and it's a subscription. It's a monthly subscription. So you're not just getting access to the AI practitioner extended materials or enhanced materials. You're getting access to like the catalog of AWS Skill Builder, right? Including the hands-on labs. So the enhanced preparation course, which I took, had everything that I mentioned before. But when it comes to questions, there are going to be bonus questions for each domain that you go over. In addition to those domains, they're going to be digital flashcards, which is going to have a concept, and then you can click on that flashcard, it flips it around, and then there's a detailed explanation. You can go through these flashcards several times because flashcards are really good for helping you to remember and recall key points, which is very helpful in terms of exam prep. In addition to those bonus questions, you're going to get hands-on labs recommendations in the enhanced exam prep course. And because you have done and signed up for the enhanced exam prep, now you're going to have access to those builder labs within Skill Builder if you have that paid subscription that I was mentioning earlier to you. The other thing you're going to have access to with the enhanced enhanced exam plan is a full-length practice exam of AI practitioner questions, which is just extremely helpful. So you have all the walkthrough questions that you get with the standard. You have all the bonus questions which you get through the enhanced plan, and a full-length practice test. And I cannot stress to you enough how much not only going through the great videos that go over all the domains and all the task statements in depth, being able to have those additional bonus questions and a full-length practice test enrolling in the enhanced preparation plan, like that is going to help you out tremendously. So I would say probably around Wednesday or so, 3 days of like really in-depth studying with going through questions, I was feeling fairly good about sitting for the exam that I had set for. I took it on a Friday, right? And I took that practice exam the day before on Thursday, and I passed the practice exam. I passed all the bonus questions. I got all the walkthrough questions right. I was feeling pretty good. So let me tell you a fun story. It was Thursday, the day before I'm getting ready to take the exam. It was slightly more than 24 hours before I was getting ready to sit the exam. For whatever reason, I got an automated notification saying that the exam center that I selected wasn't going to be able to accommodate me sitting the exam. So I was like, okay, I've been racking my brain out all week and I'm ready to take this thing. And now I'm like, I can't take it. What am I going to do? Like, when you study and prepare for something and you're ready to go, it's like you got to sit that exam so you can go ahead and get all the information down on paper. So I scrambled around and I found another testing center, and we're already almost 24 hours like the day before. So I was going through and trying to select multiple times for this other exam center. And I went to the last available one on Friday because all the other ones were like, nope, can't book that one. I booked the last possible option on Friday, and boom, like it was like successful. You can take the exam, so that was great. Now, I've never been to this exam center that I registered for, so I go out there, looks pretty good. I get into the testing space, and I feel like it's a very tiny testing room that they put me in. I was packed in there with other people. The temperature in there was extremely warm. Now, they asked me before I went in there, did I want earplugs? And I said no. And the reason why is because I've taken exams before where I've put in earplugs or like a headset for noise over my head. And for whatever reason, it magnifies the sound of my own heartbeat. You know when you're nervous when you're taking that exam? And so I was like, no, thank you. And I went in there, and within about the first couple of questions, I'm hearing a noise as if somebody is watching literally a Netflix movie. I mean, it sounds like straight up somebody's watching a Netflix movie. And it's so bad that at a certain point, I'm like, should I get up and go tell the staff at the front desk, like, what is going on in here? But I tough it out. And at some points, I'm literally having to hold my ears like this so I can concentrate. Anyway, I got through the test, submitted everything, and the feedback I gave the testing center was, I was like, is somebody watching Netflix in there? And apparently they were like, no, I apologize. Actually, there's an exam that law enforcement takes and they have to watch videos. So I don't know what those videos were about, but it sounded like a Netflix movie. So I would recommend, as a fun fact, I learned the hard way, get you some earplugs. Even if you don't think you're going to use them, it's nice to have them. That's my feedback. And there's one more additional thing that I forgot to tell you, which I want to mention, is that when you do the enhanced exam prep and you have access to the paid version of AWS Skill Builder subscription, you get access to the AWS AI Practitioner Escape Room. So this is a 3D game that's literally an escape room. I think there's around 5 levels. Each level is aligned to something that you need to solve, which corresponds to the AI Practitioner exam guide. It's super fun. There are additional questions that you have to answer in that. So that was another resource that I use. And I thought with all that stuff that I did, I went in there, passed that exam, did it in 1 week, thought it was great. If I had to do it all over again, Rather than doing it in 1 week, I feel like a more reasonable timeline is 30 days because that's going to allow you to take your time. That's also going to allow you to read the additional resources or at least go through them and use them as reference. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out this video before you go, and I'll see you in the next video.